Hello, beautiful friends, and Merry Christmas to everyone who's celebrating Christmas today. So I know many of our friends in Europe are celebrating today. Um, I celebrate today as well, and tomorrow, just and we celebrate every day by existing. And that is really why we are here. Every day is the opportunity to connect with that Christ intelligence. And so I'll speak a little bit about my encounters with Christ, just to bring the energy in so that we know what the destiny is for humankind. And then we will go into an amazing meditation where we will be bringing more light into ourselves. We'll be really creating atomic radiance, and that is actually part of our ascension process, to be actually bringing so much light into the body. Now, we are magicians, I always say alchemists, and so we are remembering all these amazing things. And so we will close today's event as well with a ritual, and it's going to be a ritual of the wine of the mystics. So if you do have a glass of wine with you, if not, then juice, water, it doesn't matter. We'll turn water into wine, tea, whatever it is. And we will be guided through a very special, it's actually a new moon ritual for Divine Mother. The new moon was yesterday. It was a super new moon, so it's okay. We are still under the auspicious energies of the new moon, and we will be doing an offering to Divine Mother. It will be really beautiful. Again, it is done in the Kabbalah while working with the Tree of Life. And so the Tree of Life, it really is an offering to Divine Mother, what we will be doing. So not so much drinking, like offering. Yeah, and we will also do it in the evening. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a beautiful ritualistic, obviously. It's what we do is elemental magic. So as you know, the Divine Mother is the mother of elements, and so we honor her with her own elements, for example. So I learned so much from Divine Mother about actually doing offerings to her, as it is done by all our really native people, Aboriginal people, original people. And so we are remembering to give offerings to actually our mother. And one day she told me, and actually I was doing it every day, to give her offerings every single day. And so every single evening I prepared a little plate of deliciousness for her, with some nuts and fruit and flowers and whatever you can give her, and gave it to her. And then our dogs would eat it, because you know you lay it on the ground, but still it goes to the mother. So as you know, everything comes from the mother and then goes back to the mother. And the ritual today is about acknowledging that all comes from the mother and goes back to mother. So what is Christmas? Like, mainly, obviously, it was the original celebration of the solstice, which is the big alignment, the earth, the sun, and the galactic core. Now we have celebration that we all enjoy, I think, or most of us in this world, Christmas. And really, it doesn't matter if it is, you know, artificial or not. But the thing is that our collective is always creating energies in every single moment. And so it's wonderful when we align and start creating energies of goodwill, celebration, and, you know, we just get more coherent as humanity. So even Patricia Cota Robles was saying how when people watch Olympic Games, it creates coherence within humanity. So think about it. That's pretty crazy. So we are creating coherence because, you know, we decided as humanity that we'll celebrate today and tomorrow as Christmas. And so that's okay. We accept that coherence is important. And so meditation, this is really how we are going to celebrate this Christmas here together. And that is meditation. Of course, I always say, as Yogananda said, it is not our goal. Meditation is not the goal, but it is the path. And we want to get to the goal following a path. And I always share the path that I find has worked incredibly powerfully for me personally. And it led to incredible revelations again and again and again and again, which is really what we were designed to do. And that is to constantly be evolving until one day you wake up and it's like all the negative human lower nature suddenly dissolves. But it's a mystical state. And so these mystical states come about when we invest in ourselves. And for example, I always recommend working with Oren. We will be working with Oren just because it's such an accelerated path. And to me, obviously, you know, Yogananda taught us those super quick, easy steps as well. And that's the step of purification, then step of working with the angelic queendom, where we add color to us. Adding color to us is really important because we are increasing our luminosity. So first we take away the burdens. Yogananda call it the cloak of humanness. And so we burn that. And with Yogananda, we burn it in the living fire of God. When we work with the violet fire, we burn it in the violet fire. And so whatever tools we have, we are absolutely following the steps. I think in every mystical tradition, that is first purification. Purification is important. And then the next step is adding light. So for people who are also, dealing with health problems, for example, I experienced the power of pranic healing. And I know we have many pranic healers here too, pranic healers. And pranic healing is wonderful too, because you first take away the sick prana, that prana which is toxic, so the related toxic chi, and you then replace it with new energy, with new prana, with new chi. And so again, that's what we do here. And so the next step with Yogananda, so it was purification. We did that yesterday. Then the next step is adding color to us. And then we go and meet with our soul body. And then we meet with our spirit body. And after we truly, truly, truly embody the soul body and spirit body, I always say for me, it took about 2 years of daily practice. So you can imagine, some effort goes into this. But then the reward is so sweet. It's beyond anything we can actually really wish for. And that is our personal really relationship that is not imaginary. It's not wishful thinking. It's not a belief system. It is when you have encounter with these layers of creation, such as divine source or divine mother. So I want to always inspire everyone to keep going. This is very simple. And again, the changes are happening. And of course, the lighter we become, the better it gets. And then the level of bliss. And again, bliss is something Yogananda spoke about quite a bit. All his beautiful writings, it's like, whoa, that guy was blissing out all the time. But that's actually our true nature, to be so blissful and to be in celebration of Divine Mother, to be in celebration of divine source, and to be part of it in a way that you feel honored, in surrender, of course. And that is what we are really here achieving together as a team. So Christ, obviously in this world, we had some religions that maybe talk about Christ as Jesus only, but actually Christ is, and you can meet absolutely what I called Uncle Jesus as a being in higher realms. He can also come to you here. So, these divine beings, they can take on many recognizable forms. And so, for example, if you like listening, like I really love listening to near-death experiences. So you can tell that people who are cultured or conditioned by religions, they always end up meeting Jesus and Father God. And so again, then people who don't have any religions, they might end up meeting, so many beautiful beings of light who come to them, and so on and so on. So it really doesn't matter, but liberating the mind is a good idea, so that actually you can have an unconditioned experience of the divine. And so he can absolutely, and I say he as Jesus, a great teacher who walked upon the earth, and there are many different stories about him. And I think most of the stories are actually more like allegories, trying to explain to us what needs to happen to a human being so that they can fully embody the divine. So I personally believe, for example, that crucifixion is actually an allegory, and that it is crucifying really the human self so that we can become immortal divine self, so that we can fully embody this Christ light, which is the really incredible presence of all love in cosmos, available to every single one of us. But again, the stories don't matter. I'm going to share a little bit, which many of you maybe heard, just to bring in the Christ energy. So my first experience with Christ was as a child. And, I didn't come from a Christian family because I grew up in communist Czechoslovakia. And so I don't know how it was for others, but we didn't really have any religions. And I grew up kind of with my grandparents who were anti-religion. They really believed that you just have to live your life and be very loving and kind, but that's about it, which was really important and beautiful. And so my grandfather always says religion's a nonsense. And so that was my upbringing, but they both loved nature. And I understand how that was really important, that we spend so much time in nature all the time and just talking to nature spirits, really, with my grandma. So it was very beautiful. But one day, I think I was in the second grade in elementary school, and I started to hear this amazing like wisdom coming into my head, and I would hear it as words. So I could barely write, but I remember, sitting in the classroom in the second grade and writing it all down. And then I brought it home to my grandma and I showed it to her. And I remember her expression. And then she just says, "Child, how do you come up with these things?" And I kept hearing this voice, and the voice was telling me this is the voice of Christ. And so I fell in love with this voice because it was always like so much love flowing with it. And so they kind of, disappeared and life went on. But I was on this meditation path where you have to meditate as much as possible every day. And instead of sleeping, you meditate, and you just meditate all the time. You kind of take vacations to meditate as well. And so then I was visited by what I would call really, it was Jesus, and it happened during the Kundalini awakening. So there is such thing, where this life force comes from the base of the spine, and it simply moves like this beautiful, incredible, blissful heat energy. It moves through your entire being, and it's just ignites you, comes into the pineal gland, and it's just, you start seeing into other dimensions, and you have these divine experiences. And so again, we refer to it as Kundalini awakening. But in that moment, Christ appeared. And not only Christ, but what I would call kind of the presence of the Father as well. And it was my first like really huge mystical experience with this level of creation. And they transmit energy to you, which then you have to unpack as knowledge. And so you learn so much. And so I learned a bit about the design of humankind and how important it is to be peaceful. And I was told that peace in this world really holds the key to heaven. Peace, peace within us, peace among us, and peace among nations. And so I learned how wrong it was actually any type of really, and it's going to sound silly, but killing. So Christ spoke to me about the state of humanity, that, it's unacceptable really when humans kill each other. And that as long as that happens, and this was the words of really Christ, he said, they are stealing from the ocean of life. And, these things you just never forget. It always sounds the same in your head. So I learned that really it's really important that we step into peace. And later, we had many different revelations. Really, it is peace that is the altar of the divine in this world. And it is when we are peaceful, which also, as you understand from the teachings of Patricia Cota Robles, when humanity started to actually kill each other, it was the fall from grace. That was like the ultimate, how can we harm another part of life? And so then we have all the beautiful teachings in Buddhism, no harm to any part of life, no harm. And that is important. We are remembering now that if we harm any part of life, we are really not only harming ourselves, but we are showing the deepest state of unconsciousness, right? Because how can we harm another part of life, which is really the mother manifested? And so that was the first teaching of Christ, and that was, do not steal from the ocean of life. And I thought, wow, so we just, there is the ocean of life. And when we are in goodwill, when we are in the presence of love, we are adding to the ocean of life and love. And so that was kind of the first metaphor. I learned also about the design of our reality, and it was pretty much the design that you would describe in Taoism as the yin and yang, as really time and space, as matter and antimatter, as the light and the darkness, but without the darkness being evil. So big experiences, but this, it inspires you to keep going. So I kept going with my meditations, and I shared this experience before, but this experience to me was actually one of the most life-changing experiences in life. And that was really encounter with that which is beyond the body of Jesus, but it is the Christ itself. Christ as light. Christ as this beautiful golden light that you see here. Christ that comes, is everywhere, but suddenly you uncover what it is. And so I woke up one morning after kind of, doing a long meditation, and it was Saturday or Sunday morning. I know it was a weekend, but the Christ light was in the bedroom. It was everywhere. It was just this unbelievable emanation of this golden light. And it was so blissful. It was so loving. It was just indescribable love. And so I think there is a story of Jesus when he took his disciples into his light body. And to me, this was the experience of actually being in the light body of the Great One. And so you recognize these great ones. They don't even have to tell you anything. You just immediately remember what it is you are in the presence of. And so in the presence of this great one, in the presence of this all-encompassing love, I really was able to telepathically communicate with the Christ and realized that Christ is love. And it is the ultimate love. And it is not outside of us, but it is really truly for all of us to embody, to just step into it. It's always available to us. But it is really beyond all fear. And it is actually only achievable, if we say it like this, in the complete absence of fear. All fear, small fear, tiny little worry, all of that would stand in the way of the Christ. The human mind really that produces all these things, the distortions, stands in the way of that surrender to love. And so there is absolutely, and you, if you've had the experience, then you will agree, because there's no other way. There is nothing but love. It is only love. And I know it sounds like kind of, romantic expression of, that's all about love. But yes, it is. And that's how simple it is. So each one of us have the incredible opportunity in every moment to start choosing that love in the absence of fear. And then one day it like sweeps you into it. And once you are in it, this is different. It is beyond anything anyone has ever experienced, unless they had this experience. Yeah. So it's for all of us to experience it. And again, for me, it took years and years and years of meditation. But again, it doesn't mean that it has to be the same length for you. So I say, never give up. The reward is so sweet. It's the sweetest transformation that can ever happen, I believe, because it's the rewiring of the human self. The human self gets crucified in a way, if we want to describe it that way. It no longer is in the way of this Christ light, and you become it. And so I learned from Christ in that moment, that day actually, that it is for all of us to have the same destiny. And that is the destiny. And it's beyond religions. It's beyond even the words like Christ. You just say it's solar light. It is in a way solar light, like you see here. And so that's what we are doing as we become solar light beings. And when we become solar light beings, it is only because we actually have fully surrendered to all love. And that love has to go, like sometimes human brain still wants to make judgments about things. But actually this rewiring, when it happens, it is rewiring also of your nervous system. And so it rewires the nervous system to no longer think in these distorted dualities. It brings the right and the left hemisphere into oneness. And so it's something truly magical. It's a transformation of the nervous system. And then when you look at the world, you no longer have these random judgments. They disappear. There is no such thing. There is just silence in the brain. And it's unbelievable what can happen. And so that potential is again within all of us. And so it is our goal here to spread this good energy into all of us so that we all can experience this. So the experiences go on, of course, it's nice when you have them, but it doesn't mean you arrived really, even though it seems like you arrived. And so we keep going. And so again, I kept on meditating. And then this is kind of recently, just a few years ago, because I always remember when these things happen, kind of like, which bedroom is it in? Was it when I was living in Berlin, and was it now in Santa Rosa? So this last experience with Christ was Santa Rosa. And so again, Christ comes in the middle of the night and shows me something so incredible. And that is how this ascension process will actually come into culmination. And that is when all of us have surrendered to that Christ light. We all have surrendered to that love, and we all become rainbow beings of light. And the joy was so uncontainable. I remember just laughing out loud, middle of the night, because I saw the bliss that is upon us. And so it is upon us. But again, I say, let's invest into that so that we are ready when it comes. So, And the question that I see is, how do you move through broken heart? I think all of us have had what we call a broken heart, and sometimes it seems big, but nothing is big enough when it comes to the human condition, when it comes to the embodiment of the Christ self. That broken heart heals instantaneously. Within us is always the infinite capacity to again and again and again be whole. And the wholeness to me comes through meditation. And then eventually, of course, you know, like Divine Mother, when she then pops into your heart, that's it, bam, she burns it all. You'll never remember any of it. Nothing will ever matter anymore when she comes. She burns the residue of all karma. And so that's why today we will be welcoming the Mother. That's why. And so, yes, let's do it. So our first meditation will be the one where we bring spirit into matter. And for those of you who want to stay for the ritual with the wine of the mystics, or the water or the tea or the fruit juice of the mystics, that's going to be what we will close with. And then we will go out and offer our elixirs to Divine Mother. And that's going to be very powerful. We give the offering to the earth at the end, of course. She's the one who drinks it. So the first meditation will be from the beautiful album that we have been working with so much, and that is the one I always recommend having. Wonderful grape juice is perfect. It is actually, you know, wonderful. And so we will be increasing our inner light. Once again, I always want to say, if you can, please support Oren and Deben as we work with these beautiful tools. And I know not everybody can afford these, but those who can, please do. And once again, this is 12 journeys of the increasing your inner light. And we will be using the one where we really bring spirit into the matter of our body. So we'll be in this really Christ-like luminosity. So the meditations are usually about 25 minutes, and then we will do our Kabbalistic ritual. So this was track number 10 from Increasing Your Inner Light by Oren. And as you know, if you can do just one Oren a day, life will never be the same. It will just become more and more amazing. So we are about to perform a ritual for Divine Mother. And this is a ritual in which we ask for nothing, but we give our offerings to her. And this is a very mystical ritual. It is performed by the mystics of the teachings of the Kabbalah. And Kabbalah is really the teachings of the Divine Mother. It is the teaching of the Tree of Life. I have my altar here. This is where I'm sitting, actually always by the altar. I took a picture of it today, like from above. And so it has many different things. So if you have your altar, it's good to have the representations of whatever each object means to you, so that you connect deeper with Divine Mother, so that you connect deeper with Divine Source. And the power of objects is, of course, that if you use them, you also induce them with these divine energies. And Magda is sitting here, and we have a lot of things going on here, the magic wands and so on, sacred geometries. So we are stepping into the ritual. It will take about 10-15 minutes at the most. The way that we perform rituals, magic, and alchemy is always with divine authority, with divine confidence that we have the power, and the power is within us, and the power is to be seen and heard. So we do that with dignity. We do that truly with devotion, and we do that with love. Whatever we perform with love is always seen and heard. So may that love be strong for the Mother. Sometimes the Mother in the Kabbalah is referred to also as the Dark Mother, the Dark Madonna, you know, the Kali aspect of the Mother. Sometimes they even call her the Terrible Mother. And I want to explain that. We're not going to call her the Terrible Mother. The Mother is always a reflector. The Mother is a reflector of our internal situation. What is within must be reflected without. If a human has bad neighborhoods within, the bad neighborhoods will be reflected upon the canvas of our lives. That's why we do purification. We clean up the bad neighborhoods within to come into all love, to come into all light. Is it possible? Absolutely. Once again, this is what Oren is teaching us. Little by little, we transform, and then suddenly we come to the tipping point. The tipping point is the most fun, where suddenly, and I always say, you wake up one morning and the old self is gone. You can't find it, even if you look for it. It is gone. And so with that, we step into our ritual. The mother is always celebrated with her own elements, and that's why I have here the wine of the mystics. So if you use wine, always use ideally organic. She loves the red wines. The mystical school in India of the Sri Vidya celebrates Kali on the full moon with red wine. We are kind of in the new moon, so we also celebrate, I call it the wine of the mystics. Whatever you have, that's great. So it's not so much about drinking, it's more about offering and using this as a ritual, of course. So what you will need, if you have, please have something that represents the mother for you. Maybe you already have an altar. The mother is also represented simply by a seashell. She is represented by a flower. That all is the mother. Crystal, that is the mother. And so we will be invoking the mother together in this powerful ritual. Part of the ritual is silent meditation for a few moments, but part of the ritual is also singing, dancing, as you know, or, reading some devotional poetry. So again, this will be recorded. If the event gets too long for you, just simply, log off, and maybe you will want to listen to this later. So I have it all written down. So I'll be reading the ritual as it was given through the Kabbalah. And let us find some beautiful picture of the mother here. Beloved mother, we love you. Oh, I actually have this, which is kind of funny. This is the wine of the mystics, the Satya Yuga. So also for this ritual, you will need something. Let's use that. Actually, it's kind of fun. So we need a chalice. The recordings, whenever I can, I post them on YouTube. And sometimes I forget. And very often, actually, I do. But I'll try to record this one and post it. So here we have a chalice. It can be a glass. It can be the Holy Grail. And so here we are, the mystics. And so I'll play some music as I do that. This is going to be a very beautiful music, which was a transmission for the soul. Let me just find it. The sounds of the soul. And so here we are. Is the music okay with me speaking, or is the music too loud? So that we know the quality of it. Here, hard to hear, okay. Then I will do it without music. And then, all right. Okay. We'll do it without music, and then we add music when we are meditating. Okay, thank you. So this is a ritual. This is an offering to the goddess, to Divine Mother. When we speak with Divine Mother, we speak with authority. The voice needs to have a rhythm, the rhythm of divine confidence. And so we will give her an offering without asking for anything in return. You will need a glass, a chalice, a goblet, a holy grail, and a representation of the mother, which can be a statue, picture, seashell, even a flower, and the wine of the mystics, whatever that is for you. And if you have an altar, sit at your altar. This is best performed on the new moon. So today is the day after the full new moon, it's okay. We will place the empty chalice and the representation of the goddess on your altar. So let us do that now. Kneel in front of your altar. If you can. If not, sit in front of your altar. With your arms outstretched and palms up, form a mental image of Divine Mother. With your eyes closed, see Divine Mother in your third eye, smiling at you, emanating love and joy and blessings to you, and see her in every detail. Take a deep breath. And now let us invoke the Mother. Great Mother, who are the Queen of heaven and earth, we call to you. From your breasts flow the nourishing waters of life and the cold rivers of the underworld. From you, all things are born, and to you, all things go when the time comes for them to perish. For the womb that bears us is also the tomb. The brightest stars in the sky are on your crown. Blessed Goddess, be present here with us, so that we may adore you at your feet. And now let us wait for a moment to allow the power of Divine Mother to wash over us and just breathe. And let us meditate silently in the presence of the Goddess. Mother, hear our praises. We are humbled before you. We love you with all that we are. And now, my friends, let us fill the chalice with the wine of the mystics and raise the goblet to the image of the Goddess on our altar. And let us say, I worship and adore all that you are. And I give myself to you in love. I love you with all that I am. I love you completely and without reservation. I love you with all that I am. And today, Mother, I ask nothing in return. Take a deep breath and take a sip of the wine of the mystics, and then place it on the altar. Now, part of this ritual is singing, dancing, and reading devotional poetry. And so please join me in chanting Ma to our Mother. I will find the song that we have. And the song I was playing before, it was given to us by Daniel Hallman. Such a beautiful song. But here is Ma. go. Let us close. Mm. Oh. The mother is bountiful. The mother is infinitely giving, loving, and her blessings are great. When we are great, she is greater. She reflects our greatness to us. And so, when you are ready to end the ritual, kneel before the altar with your arms outstretched once again to say goodbye to the mother. Great Mother, who are the Queen of heaven and earth, we thank you for attending this rite of worship. We now bid you farewell, knowing that you heard our praises, you heard and received our love. Blessed be. And to conclude this ritual, we take our chalice outside if we can, and we pour our offerings upon Mother Earth. And so be it. So thank you so much for being here today. We will repeat at 5 p.m. Pacific today. Merry Christmas to everyone who celebrates Christmas and celebrates today. And tomorrow we have one ceremony. We will be going into the pools of Divine Mother for rejuvenation, restoration. And so the times are posted on the website. If anyone can remember what it is tomorrow, I think it's 11 a.m. Pacific. And then in the evening, we are celebrating Christmas with the family. So 11 a.m. Pacific. Wonderful. So I look forward to hopping into the pools of Divine Mother with you tomorrow for rejuvenation, restoration, and renewal. And so thank you so much. I'm going outside to pour my blessings upon the earth, and maybe many of you will join me. Thank you and Merry Christmas.